Ma'ams and sirs, welcome to the Jared Bellmund Show. We are located in our own homes and offices and today aquariums in order to continue safe work processes. My goal is to assist you in our personal and professional growth by talking to community leaders like our guest, Brenda Ramer. This episode is brought to you by Pro 16 Productions. Pro 16 Productions combines experience, passion, and innovation to capture the essence of your projects. Brenda Ramer is a lifelong educator and explorer. She founded Team ECCO in 2001 as a way to bring the ocean to people in the mountains. On average, 60 to 65% of residents in Western North Carolina have never experienced blue water. She has 19 years of ocean education experience. She is currently doing postgrad studies to receive her ocean ecology education certification. She has worked and trained with Reef, Biosphere 2, St. Augustine Aquarium, Georgia Aquarium, Riverbank Zoo, among many others. Brenda has been a Hendersonville resident for 35 years. She is a mother of 3. Their names are Catherine, Angela, and Michael. She has many students who have gone through the Team ECCO program that have gone on to exciting careers in marine biology. She designed the only in-house marine studies intern program in Western North Carolina, which has drawn college kids from several universities such as UNCA, UNCW, NC State, WCU, and Florida. Today, we will talk about how COVID has impacted the aquarium here in Hendersonville. Welcome to the show, Brenda.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. That is some resume, bio. That is... You've done a few things in your life.
Just a couple. It keeps me from cleaning house.
That's good. So where did your love of the ocean come from?
Well, it definitely wasn't my childhood because I never saw blue water ocean until I was in my mid-30s.
Wow.
And I went down to the Keys and did a snorkel trip, fell in love with all of it. And the gentleman that had us out on the boat eventually turned around and became my scuba instructor. I went on and got my scuba instructor's license and started trying to figure out how do I bring active live ocean science to kids here in the mountains instead of a book and a DVD and a trip to a fish store.
That's awesome. I believe that's how I think I was first introduced to ECCO several years ago where you guys hosted after hours for the chamber or something.
Yeah.
And you had a bunch of your high school interns there. And that's where I really got impressed that it wasn't just like, hey, come here and learn something. It was like, no, these kids are like hands-on, like running the show. Like it was very impressive how much knowledge those kids and how much they actually did themselves. So, that's really cool.
They do. One of the things that we do here is they learn from the ground up. So they're pretty cool kids.
Yeah, that's really great. So you're in a crazy situation right now because you're not allowed to be open. And so let's talk about so outside the fact of like, you can't run a business without running a business and part of what you do is a business. So, but let's just talk about the crazy thing. So in some of our comments, you were saying that like, obviously funding is going to be an issue, but you were saying like food and water quality were issues from not being open. Talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. Sure. Not being able to have, just because we're not open to the public doesn't mean that we can turn the key and walk away. We have about 250 mouths that need to be fed here every day and cared for. And it's not just throw some pellets in. These guys are on strict diets with strict vitamin and mineral additives, and we have to do water quality testing in all of our more than 24 aquariums twice a week, minimum. We have to clean filters. We have to clean skimmers. We have to make sure pumps are running and heaters are running and lights are working. And no one has been fighting in the tanks among themselves because they've been cooped up without people to visit them for so long. That happens. So it's kind of made that a little crazy. And when it first started, I had to write the letters for my staff to be able to come in and work, that they had to keep on them all the time in case they got stopped out on the street and going, where are you going? And we worked in shifts. We would bring in like 3 of us at a time or 4 of us at a time into the aquarium, and we would rotate days. Of course, I'm here 7 days a week. And these kids gave up their time and, came in, masks and all, and they still loved the animals and did what we needed to do. And I couldn't have done it without them. There's no way to run this place single-handedly. We might not be big, but if you imagine this times 1,000,000 is the Georgia Aquarium or the Charleston Aquarium. And there's a lot that happens. We're here a minimum of 4 hours a day.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a lot of work being put in.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the social behavior is being impacted with the lack of people. So tell me about that. That's intriguing to me.
Well, funny story, especially with our tortoises, our big tortoises. We have a rather large African sulcata tortoise, and most all of our reptiles were other people's pets, and they kind of came our way. But this African turned 6 this spring, and he decided he wanted to be the dominant male in the tortoise enclosure. And he took my other male and literally started running. If you can imagine a tortoise running, I wish we would have got this on camera, and just headbutted him and pushed him right into the wall and held him there and was pushing and pushing against him. And so once we came out of shock and we separated the tortoises, we noticed that the tortoise that took the hit could no longer move his right front arm very well. So it was a trip to the vet, anti-inflammatory injections and anti-inflammatory oral medication, and it never really got better. So my son, who is an athletic trainer, designed a sling for this tortoise so that it wraps around his shell. I'll get one of the girls to get it if you want. And it's really kind of amazing, to see him, because the sling keeps him from his arm going too far back.
Yeah.
And he can still duck in his shell, do whatever he wants to do, but he can now walk without having to do the old peg leg along,
That's great.
But they get bored. They are forever hanging out in the front windows, waiting for people to stop by and talk to them. We take them outside to let them eat lunch, and they walk up and down our block of Main Street. They have a riot out there.
Yeah, I've seen them.
It's fun.
Yeah, I've seen them out there many times. That's great. That's really great.
And our sharks have acted. We had to start getting back in the tank twice a day because our sharks were missing us, because we get in and do a hand feed, and they were missing us. So we had to start getting back in the tank, whether anybody's here or not, guest-wise, just to keep those guys in their rhythm and keep them, because that's one of our research project is imprinting behavior. So yeah, the fish are kind of funny. They look for things, and they get bored. They start moving around the decorations in their tanks, and it's kind of silly to come in the morning and it's like they've had this massive party. Every night. We never know what we're going to find when we get here. So.
That's really exciting. So you still have some staff and volunteers helping out. I know that you've been doing a lot for Open Streets. And so why don't you tell us a little about the craziness, or don't tell us a little, tell us a lot about the craziness of what you guys have been doing for Open Streets.
Open Streets we absolutely love, because we have also been missing interacting with people. We get a little bored with each other too. But we've been going out, and like last weekend, for instance, we did Open Streets, and we actually have a huge mermaid on a pull along that we can get. It's a huge setup for a mermaid, and we pull it out there, put our mermaid on there, and you can have your picture made with her. And we had the bubbles that you blow with the ropes.
Yeah.
I can't do that kind of stuff. I'm not that patient, but I have
I'll be honest, Brenda, I am not a big fan of bubbles. I don't like the way they feel, and I just think it's like, they look great, but I don't want to touch them.
They photograph well. But so we've had hula hoopers coming. I have all kinds of sea animal character outfits, some of which are cloth, like mascot, and some of which are inflatable, which are really funny. Last week we had the inflatable shark and inflatable minion out there swimming through all of the sprinklers, going down Main Street. So that was kind of fun to do. We have arts and crafts out there for kids, and animals that they can meet and interact by talking to us. They can't touch them, but they can look at them and learn about them, ask questions. My staff goes out and feeds the reptiles while we're out there.
So a lot of my listeners are business leaders in our community. So you're doing all this for really nothing. I mean, it is really just in service of your community and in promotion of your aquarium. So talk me through that mindset of just giving in the hopes that eventually you'll get.
I think it's in my mindset, to be honest with you. It's more of I'm going to get sentimental on you here, okay?
You're good. Yeah, let's hear it.
It's more of giving because you have the ability to give. If people want to jump in and help with that, God love them. But I have always taught my students and my children that you want to leave the world a little bit better than what you found it. And if I can make somebody smile or get someone to experience something that maybe they never have or might never have the opportunity to, that made my day. If I can show kids what being a teacher is about and they want to inspire to teach, I love it. I have lots of kids that came through and that went on and became teachers. And I just love that. I don't want to I'm not a big do it for the accolades kind of person. I'm just I have the ability to do this. I have the desire and the passion to do it. And I have to share it. That's just my human nature, I guess. But like I said, I'm not going to turn down any offers of help. Okay. I'm not going to back away from some sponsorships. But we do what we can with what we have. And if that makes it better for somebody else, then we have done our piece. We have done our job. We have shared. And sharing, it's about paying things forward. I've had enough rough spots in life, and especially with this aquarium, that people have helped me be able to go forward from them. It's all about paying it forward and giving it back. We have a great community. Who wouldn't want to support this community?
That is a very true statement. Well, Brenda, thank you for getting sentimental and personal with us. I appreciate you sharing your heart. So let's talk about this. This podcast should come out right before Labor Day. Am I saying that right? Labor Day? Yeah, it'll be Labor Day. So what is the plan? So Open Streets is now turned into Shop and Dine, Open See, whatever of Hendo. Yeah. So tell us what people can expect if they come to the 500 block. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So if they come to the 500 block, what will they experience from Team ECCO?
Well, it's all weather depending for us. But we would hope that you would experience any range of our animals that will be outside. Any kind of activities that we can do, whether it be arts and crafts, kind of fun games for kids, pluck a duck, to feed the shark, to whatever my kids invent, and they are great at inventing games. The mermaid, of course, will be there. We'll have lots of characters that are interchanging between pirates and sharks and turtles and Nemo. We just never know who's going to put on what and come out in it. And that's why I love my kids. The other big thing that we will be doing on the 400 block is we have been gifted half of Stan Shelley's face in the old jewelry store. And we are bringing in a NASA exhibit.
That's going to be very exciting.
It's going to be very exciting. And on the kickoff for that is going to be on Labor Day weekend. It's due to arrive here about the 13th of August. So we're working out truck trailer logistics, but it's completely interactive. It's bilingual, and we're going to be running that as a freestanding exhibit periodically from Labor Day until the end of October. Pretty much every Friday and Saturday. Reserve it for small groups on Tuesday and Thursday. By small, I mean 10 to 15 people, because it's a pretty big space. And so we're just, you never know. I mean, who knows? I could have camel rides down here if I can.
You make it happen.
Yeah, I'll make it happen.
So tell me about some of the animals that we'll see out there, because I've seen the tortoises and I've heard you talk about some of your lizards coming out. So what else, what are we going to see?
Yeah, well, we have crested geckos and leopard geckos. We have a crocodile gecko. His name is Tick-Tock Croc from Peter Pan. We have a baby Savannah monitor lizard. We had a 3-foot Savannah monitor lizard, and she passed away this winter. And so we are imprinting with this baby to get her used to people and to used to us, because Blue took a long time for her to get used to me. was a lot of days of sitting on the floor of her enclosure, just letting her going, is she going to just lick my ankle or is she going to bite it? But she never did. She was pretty cool. We'll bring out lionfish and do things on venomous versus poisonous. Bring out lots of invertebrates, urchins and stars and slugs and snails and sea cucumbers and different species of shrimp. And we have a blue reef lobster whose body is about this big. And with his antenna, he's probably about 2.5 feet long. We'll bring him out, Elvis. Bring out some freshwater colored crawfish from Mexico. We have an animal from Mexico that regrows any part of its body other than its head. If it loses it, it's amazing. So just depends on who we can catch.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
wants to come. But they'll be out there in glass aquariums. We put aerators in them and we monitor the heat because, you know, that water is going to pick up ambient heat. So it also depends on how hot it gets outside.
Of course.
In craft stuff, we'll do design a crown. We do sand art. We have painting with the turtles where you actually get to pick colors of paint. We put it on canvas and the turtle walks across it and designs a picture for you. So we, you know, whatever we can come up with that is just absolutely will make someone smile. That's
Brenda,
what
I love your creativity. I just think you and your team are fabulous and just such a great part of our downtown community. It's just awesome.
well, thank you.
So I'm going to push you because you said that you do everything for your heart and you want to give back. But how can, if somebody wanted to give to you, how can they give to you?
They're welcome to write a check to Team ECCO, ECCO. Mailing address is 511 North Main Street. Gift cards are awesome. We've had 1 or 2 of those left in our mailbox recently, which is just great because that helps. People don't really get what it costs to run this. And we're pretty fortunate right now. We're at the end of our reserves, I'll be honest with you. We never thought we'd be closed since the 14th of March. Nobody plans for 6 months down. But that's a great way that people could help or stop by on a Friday or a Saturday when we're outside. We always have a donation thing. Stop out, visit the animals, talk to the kids, become vested in what these kids are doing for themselves in this community. And that's the best ways. Come get to know us and then choose to support us from your heart.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
I'll tell you if it's the right thing to do. And it will be.
It will be, yeah. And we'll link that all in the show notes, in the description, and we'll make sure to put all that on our social shares, how you can get a hold of Brenda and her team and how you can give back if you want to do so. Brenda, I asked the same 3 questions of every one of my podcast guests, and we're going to get into that now. You look nervous, and it's okay. So the first one, I try to keep the first one easy. Okay. So the first one is, in the last 6 months, what is the most impactful book that you have read?
The German Girl. It's a book about it's a historical fiction about a young Jewish girl who had to cross the ocean on a German liner and try to get into Cuba during World War II.
Very cool. So why was it impactful to you specifically?
It has very close personal ties to my family background. Both of my grandfathers came over. My Polish grandfather came over in 1913, right in front of World War I. And just that I've been looking a lot at immigrant causes and struggles and patterning. I feel very compelled towards World War II. But that one made an impact for me because I thought, wow, that she was about the same age as my grandfather when she came over, and just to see the things that had been done, what she had to go through. Cuba refused them. You know, her father had to pay off and sell everything he owned on the boat to get her on Cuba, you know, onto Cuban land, and just struggles that people go through. But that was a remarkable book for me.
That's awesome. The German Girl. Very interesting. I like that. A little heritage, a little legacy. Very cool. So the second question is, what is something, and I have to preface this, you can't use COVID or something from the pandemic, but what is something that you've had to say no to in the last 6 months?
Being there for my grandson's birthday.
That's a difficult one.
That's a big one. In 8 years, I only ever missed one. So, and that was because of a surgery. So this was tough. You know, saying no to seeing family, that's the toughest thing for me.
Yeah, that's, I hate that. Yeah, never good when we have to choose not family.
I know.
Always makes it difficult. All right. Last question.
Okay.
If I were to give you a billboard, big, huge billboard, and millions upon millions upon millions of people would see what you put on this billboard, what would you put on it?
I would put a mermaid blowing a kiss with a shark in her lap and say, support the seas. No matter whether it's our piece of the sea or anywhere around the world, because to me, that's where my heart is. There's a connection to the blue. And my mermaid, to be honest with you, would be a special needs child, because that's where my heart started. So yeah, that's what I would put on it, and just support the sea. No matter where you are, how much you can or can't do, pick up trash, send $10, whatever it takes, support it, because times they are a-changing.
Brenda, I love that you continue to share your heart. And I believe that after 20 some odd podcasts, that is the first visual podcast we've had. So mermaid and a shark. That's awesome. Very
That's
cool.
it.
Very you. Well, Brenda, I appreciate you coming on with me. I appreciate you sharing your heart. Thank you so much for being on the Jared Bellmund Show.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having us. We hope to see you down here soon.
Thank you for watching the Jared Bellmund Show. Be sure to hit subscribe, ring the bell for future notifications, and check out the description for more information.